Hi, and good morning to all our viewers. Today we have with us a very special guest. It's Dr. KV Srinivas. Sir is a renowned nephrologist from Bangalore with vast experience in India and abroad. Sir is currently heading the Department of Nephrology at Dr. Chandrama Dayanand Sagar Institute of Medical Education and Research. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Vijaydev, for having me and for this invitation. It's my great pleasure to have a chat and share my experiences with you. Thank you very much again.
Sir is known for his professional excellence and also as a great human being for his humility and modesty. 4 decades in this profession and standing at this point, how does the journey feel?
Yeah, it's in fact gives me a very great satisfaction, as you call as a simhavalokanam. You know, when the lion, after eating to its full stomach, it rests and take a look to the back, and then feels satisfied at the hunt it has made. So some sort of a same experience I have. God has given me a lot of opportunities, and I think I have made a good use of it. And I have achieved something, and there are a lot more to see and achieve. So that's what, in a nutshell, I can tell you.
Very, has been very satisfying to listen to, sir. And sir, over the last 4 decades, you would have seen various trends in the disease as well as in the treatment. Is it possible you can briefly tell us 40 years ago, what were the nephrological diseases we were seeing, and now is it the same or has the demography completely changed?
If you take the field of nephrology vis-a-vis, for example, say cardiology, it is taking some progress, but not to the same extent as, for example, in cardiology and other fields. But when I look back those years and compare to it, nephrology has definitely progressed in all its treatment care, starting from the diagnosis, whether it is at the laboratory level. We have lots of new investigations which have come up which can diagnose the kidney disease early in its stages. We have a lot of biomarkers which have been come up now, like the cardiologists had the troponin, for example. We were long time awaiting for such biomarkers. Earlier years, we had only serum creatinine as our markers. Now, later on, we have cystatin, then we have other biomarkers like NGAL, KIMS, and etc. So, the diagnosis, we can make it at an early stage. And when you compare the treatment also, we have come a long way. We have very modest treatment options before. Now, we have a lot of various pharmaceutical agents which have come in a long way to prevent the disease progressing to the end stage renal disease. And in the dialysis, a lot of transformation has taken place from the very basic modes of dialysis, which we have now very advanced ways of dialyzing the patients. Critically ill patients we are tackling. And then regarding transplantation also, leaps and bounds we have done it. But I'm still hopeful that it is going to go further progress to the advance and for the betterment of the patient care.
A very common question, which, or I would say a misconception, you please clarify this. Many of, including me, have the question about protein supplements. What is your take on protein supplements? Because if you open the internet on YouTube, there are hundreds of videos of telling how protein supplements are safe, and then the same number of videos telling how they have damaged the kidneys. So, what is your take on protein
I
supplements?
think that's a very valid question, especially if you consider so many of these protein supplements, lots of younger generations are consuming it, especially those people who are going to the gym, and it is easily available over the counter, and we don't know what the products has inside.
Right.
And how long, if you take it for a long time, what are the effects? We don't have any controlled studies on such people who are consuming it over a period of long time. But in a nutshell, let me tell you, not only the proteins, any nutrient, unless you have a deficiency, it will not help. If you are not deficient, for example, in proteins or vitamins, which many people take it on a daily basis, These are simply get excreted, either way, in the urine or in the stools, and very little consumed if it is not required by the body. So the body has a capacity to sort of fine tune the absorption depending upon your necessity. If it is not required, it will not be helpful. Rather, some of the constituents, in fact, may do harm to you. Some of them, for example, have antigenic materials which may elicit some antibodies, which in a long term will do some immunological damage. We have seen quite a number of patients who are consuming these proteins coming with high urea, uric acid levels, and serum creatinine levels. And when they go for some medical examination, say for a life insurance examination, they found the high values of this, and then they send it to us, and we simply ask them to cut it down, and then see these things are coming back to the normal. So my advice is, if it is required, yes. For example, there are certain category of people like pregnant ladies or patients who have protein calorie malnutrition, who are recovering from chronic illnesses, post-surgical care, as you know, they require proteins. Or even the bodybuilders, yes, they require proteins. Otherwise, you don't need it if you are not spending the proteins in a big way.
Regarding salt intake, how much is the essential salt intake? How much is too much? And this question about white salt, pink salt, crystal salt, Himalayan salt.
Yeah, regarding the salt, again, it has a very checkered sort of way. Sometimes long, they said salt is very bad. Like we know that there are three white things which we should avoid. One white is a salt, another is a sugar, another is a maida, which we often use it. So the three white things are not very good if you consume it in an excess way. Then it comes what is excess, what is normal consumption we need. It depends from person to person, but on an average diet contains around 6 to 8 to 10 grams at the most, and that's what the normal person is consuming. And if you are a person who is working outside in hot environmental climates where you sweat a lot and you lose salt, probably there you can probably take a little more excess of salt. But otherwise, some people have a habit of consuming additional salt on the table. Probably that is not good, because the salt, they excrete an additional amount. Kidney has to work really a lot, and it is a strain. Same thing happens to the excess of proteins, for example. So anything that is consumed in excess is a load on the excretory organs, and the body has to work it out a lot. So for a patient with a renal failure, depending upon his blood pressure control, we recommend them anywhere between 2 to 4 grams of salt per day. On the whole, I can advise avoid taking excess of salt. Regarding the salt substitutes, again, some of them contain a lot of potassium. So please be aware. For example, the rock salt, the Himalayan salt, they contain a lot of potassium, which I don't advise for my patients with renal failure, because they always have the hyperkalemia, meaning high potassium, which can be threatening to the heart. So be careful when you use salt substitutes.
So you have, in the initial starting of your career, you practiced in India, then for opportunities, you practiced in the UK, then the Middle East, and now you're back to India again. So having seen the healthcare system, the healthcare industry in various geographical areas, what do you think about the Indian health system? Where are we now? Are we, for example, what I mean by right now on the economic front, we say India is the fifth largest GDP, we are improving. What about on the health front? Is India lagging behind too much, or are we making big strides?
Yeah, thank you, Jay. It's a very good, valued, and a pertinent question. Yes, we are the fifth largest economy right now. We have only the 17% of the whole land, and we have around 15% of the total population in this small area. Now, still, a lot of people are there who cannot afford some of the costly diseases, let me say that. And one of them is the chronic kidney disease. Second thing is, in spite of being the large economy, India allocating its resources to the healthcare, the healthcare budget is a very meager sum, which is less than 10%, maybe 10 to 12%. So that's probably not enough. One hand. On the other hand, we cannot expect the government to do everything for a country like us. So we need a lot of corporate sectors, other public entrepreneurs, and then the general public also to take the responsibility. For example, to say insurance, to start the health insurance. And then India cannot forget to stress more on the preventive aspect of the healthcare, which is more probably suits to a country like us than for taking the managing the diseases, treating the diseases like, for example, dialysis, offering dialysis, curing diabetes. Anytime prevention of diabetes and hypertension is far better than treating hypertension and diabetes.
Right.
So we have to be we all have to put our efforts together to make the healthcare affordable. Another side of the coin is many of the diseases like diabetes, hypertension, malignancies, cancer diseases, renal failure, it is not only affecting the affluent countries. It is, in fact, there's a paradoxical shift that is affecting more of the less privileged, underdeveloped, and not very strong economic countries.
Okay.
So we have to stress more on the preventive aspect of medicine.
There's a conception among the people that healthcare is very expensive. Having seen different healthcare in different geographic distributions, what do you think about the pricing of the Indian healthcare system? Is it rightly priced? Is it underpriced, or is it overpriced?
Okay, fine. You know, Dr. Jaidev, the healthcare expenses are mounting, and even developed countries are finding it difficult to give a good healthcare to its citizens. When I say this, I must appreciate the way that India is handling the health problems. For example, the COVID infection which you took, India was one of the front countries which was leading in the vaccination, for example, and also it was exporting some medicines which was affordable to other less privileged nations. So India, I must say that it is doing well, but it has to do more. But as I said earlier, government alone cannot take this sort of a burden. This is a huge financial burden. The corporate sectors must enter in, and thank God a lot of corporate sectors are entering in, and many of the private sectors are entering in the healthcare management. And also there is an increased awareness we must create amongst the public. For example, ensuring themselves regarding healthcare, and also stress on the lifestyle patterns, and then probably help the government to tackle these enormous problems. So it's a sort of a combined responsibility of the society, and it is not possible for any one single entity to handle this crisis.
And having seen the healthcare system of the West and the Middle East, are there any points you would suggest which are achievable for our country, which certain things might not be achievable at all? Anything which can be done but still not being done? Anything like that?
Dr. Jaidev, I can stick to the field of nephrology. For example, dialysis was not affordable sort of an option for patients with renal failure. Of late, Government of India has taken a lot of efforts, and I'm sure you must be aware, even in Karnataka, we have standalone dialysis centers. The governments are establishing the dialysis centers even in the second tier and the third tier cities, totally giving them the free dialysis, and other additional expenses also been completely borne by the government sector. This is a huge sort of a progressive thing that we are seeing it. Same thing that's also happening is the transplantation. Transplantation also, government is taking lots of effort to bring down and cut down the costs, so that the people who cannot afford are made to have these treatment options. And it is not only restricted to those rich people who can afford it. Yes, definitely there is a lot more need to be done, especially that we have to see that this expertise is available and not on everywhere, not only getting concentrated in main big cities. And that is also happening, let me tell you now. I have seen a lot of the experts are settling in the second higher cities now. So many, for example, our own medical college is now in a Mufussil area that is taking care of surrounding villages. So I am sure that things are happening and a lot more will happen. And I'm sure India will also be a sort of a leading thing, not only in the software, also in the healthcare industries. It is the country which is going to provide the healthcare experts, be it with the doctors, the nurses, the technicians, the medicines. So we are doing an appreciable thing. I must appreciate the way we are doing it.
Right, sir. And now, slightly, we would wish to dive into your non-nephrology aspect of you, as in you're a trained Carnatic musician. If
Yes.
that's the right word.
Yeah, I come from a family of musicians. My mother is a Carnatic classical vocal musician. She was a teacher of music, and my first cousin was, in fact, my teacher of mridangam. I play mridangam. I started playing mridangam since the age of 12 years, and my cousin Shri T.S. Chandrasekhar is an accomplished mridangist who has accompanied a lot of stalwarts like Balamurali Krishna. So, and his another brother is also a very well-known violinist. So we have a lot of singers, then instrument players, and in that environment I have grown up. So naturally, that has come to me since my childhood.
Do you still practice it?
Yeah, I
Yes,
do
that-
practice. I do practice whenever the time is available and permits me.
The coming to the basic definition of health, WHO defines it as physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. A lot of things are being done on mental health, but I think regarding the spiritual aspect, spiritual health, not. I think there's still a lot more to achieve. Can you tell us, dwell about this topic, the spiritual health?
Yes.
Does anything called spiritual health exist? What is its importance?
In fact, Dr. Jayadev, India was the only country which was attaching the spiritual part of the health definition. Initial stress was mainly on the physical health. Later on, the mental health was added. And since time immemorial, India was the only country which was stressing on the spiritual health. The spiritual health is the basis for building the physical health and the mental health. So, in fact, if you see, many of the hospitals, they have chapels, they have sort of temples in India, and some priests do attend, and bishop, I mean, the pastor or father from the church side or the mullah from the masjid, we seen attending the patients. And when they console the patient and they give sort of a spiritual solace to the patient, that comforts a lot to the patient. So spiritual health forms the basis on which and the foundation on which the physical health and the mental health is built up. And we have our ancient practice of medicine called Ayurveda. So this is exactly built on the spiritual health, and it was expanded later on to the other facets of the health. So it's a very important thing that one must be spiritually healthy. Then I don't say that you may ask me, those people who are not very much attached spiritually, how do they do? I mean, till one point of time they do well. They do well, and you don't have to be do it. But the spirituality I meant not only the God and esoteric subjects. It's one belief in you, something in your own inner self, in your own soul. That is also spiritual.
Right.
So spiritual health is a very important.
For your spiritual health, are there any practices, meditation, japam, bhajans, anything? Can you give us insights about this?
Yeah, all the things you mentioned, the spiritual health can be built up on this. A simple meditation, going to the calm room, calm environment, listening to some music, listening to some hymns, shlokas, meditating, doing yoga. Now you know the India is we are celebrating every year the International Yoga Day is the very basis of the spiritual health. And then probably attending to temples, pilgrimages, they're all parts of the spiritual health. And these all have been conceived not simply without any logic. They have all been conceived with a sort of solid evidences. We have around 72,000 nerves. Spiritually, we are talking, not about the neurological. And then we have 72 sort of ragas. And then we have certain mantras specifically activating these nerves. So, those people who are trained to do this sort of spiritual therapy, they can advise you to chant, to listen to certain set of shlokas, which can probably balance these nerves. Same thing as happens in Chinese medicine, for example. Their belief is the imbalance of the two nerves, which are the healing pranas, what we call as pranas. So many of these will only balance what has been imbalanced, and because of that, the disease has happened. So this will result in a balancing your inner self, and that will be reflected outside in a healthy way.
The Vedas, the Upanishads, I understand that these are also one of your topics of interest to you.
Yeah,
So, how did this all start?
correct. I mean, we also belong to the sort of family of Vedic scholars,
Okay.
uh, Sanskrit scholars. So naturally, I was attracted to studying these Vedas. So for a couple of years, I was learning this in the Shankar Mutt, and then later on, it is my self-interest which was made me to dip more into this. And as I go into the depth of it, I am more convinced that they have a role, a definite role, and a positive role to play in the swasthya, not only of the person, but of the society, country, and the universe as such. So that's why we say Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So we not only pray for ourselves, we pray for everyone, not only the human beings. May it be the mortal, the immortal, animals, the environment, everything. So lots have been described in Vedas. How should we protect the five natural elements? How do we protect our environment? How does environment interact with the health? How we should not do, what we should do, everything has been prescribed. And I think we should now time to revisit. Our youngsters should revisit our own, hereditary hidden treasure to unearth all these things. And I am sure as they venture into it, they find it more and more interesting things.
Sir, is there any example you can give us where how the knowledge of the Vedas, Upanishads, your insights into this have influenced your way of treating? There might be one way of treating a disease as per the textbook of nephrology, but just because of your insights or because of your knowledge into these things, are there any examples you can give us?
Okay. So let me connect this. The Vedas says you don't do harm to anybody. Don't do harm not only to anybody, to the environment, for example. So if you do it, your inner self is the one who is going to suffer most first, before it affects the others. Then it will affect the others. So it says if you don't sort of think negatively and think positively, your health does improve, and your health of the surrounding things will improve, the environment will improve. And they often used to do yagnas. These are the for the gods to invoke blessings. And you must have heard many of them. They have even in the music we have ragas which can cure. There are examples in the literature where, for example, the great Vaggeyakara Muthuswami Dikshita, he has cured innumerable number of patients, invoking the divine blessings through the music. So it's all possible. Unfortunately, those people who know it, they are not coming out. They are very less in number, and we should go and see those people, take their advice, probably establish alternative systems of medicines, explore it, and then probably we can, collaborate with them, cooperate with them to do much more in a better way at much lesser cost.
Useful insights, sir. And having spent this long journey in medical field, to young doctors, what would be your advice on what basis should you shape your career? You would have seen fame, you would have seen money, you would have seen ups, downs in your career. Looking back, what do you think matters the most?
What matters the most, probably, according to me, depends upon the stage of life you are in. I cannot say the same thing at my age what I'm going to say to the youngsters. Youngsters have a career ambitions. They have to settle down financially. They have ambitions to progress, which they have to do it when they have an energy. But having said that, everything is not that materialistic. You have to give an importance in their age, in the youngsters when they have to settle down in life. Only then probably you can look at elsewhere, outside world.
Right.
If you are not stable in earlier stages in your professional career, not financially sound, probably those are the people who may not be able to spend much time in the sort of the other subjects we talked about. So youngsters, they should carry out, they should progress, do what they like, what they out of passion, not that they are made to do it. That makes the life easy. They learn it fast, they become experts if they do what they love. So once they do financially and academically well, please take some time off to do some extracurricular things, be it music, art, yoga, or see what is our in Indian culture says, and also try to respect the alternative systems of medicine. We allopathic doctors probably outrightly condemn the alternative systems of medicine, and I think that we should not do it, and try to look into the other systems of medicine and learn about it. There are a lot more things to learn than the medicine, and I'm sure as they age, as they stabilize in their life, they are going to do that.
Is it true that the doctors in India are overburdened with work compared to the Western? Is it true? Have you seen both the sides? Or is it that everybody feels they are overburdened?
I think the healthcare industry itself is sort of overburdened. Not only the doctors, be it by the nurses, the pharmaceutical agents, or the laboratories, the entire sort of a health industry is under stress. That is because we are chasing a wrong goal, that is treating a diseased person. And I think we should be stressing more and more on sort of how do we make this person healthy, more healthy, becoming more healthy. As I said, the prevention is the best option that is available for a country like us. If you are talking about the professionals are stressed, this could be one of the reasons. The second reason is many of us are not spread over. Most of us are concentrated in cities, and there are a lot of population migration that is happening towards the bigger cities. So you have a lot bigger number of populations and smaller number of specialities, then not unaffordable healthcare, then alternative systems of medicine, then their own beliefs, the traditional systems, making the patients to not to take our advice and believe in their own things. So these are some of the additional causes why the healthcare profession is under stress, especially for a country like India.
Any in your long journey, any regrets or anything you would wanted to do differently, or is it a life with no regrets?
Now, if you ask me, do I regret becoming a doctor? No. Dr. Jaydev, let me tell you, at my age, at this experience, not everybody is chosen to become a doctor. It is a God's gift to you. It is your parents and your teachers' gifts to you. we are really gifted because we are the healers of the society, and we are responsible for making and keeping the healthy society. A healthy society only can make the country developed.
Right.
A developed country, one of the yardstick is how healthy is the society. So in that way, we are directly contributing to the nation becoming a developed, economically strong, when it becomes strong health-wise. So it is a gift. I think we should make use of it. We should realize our responsibilities, serve the poor, serve the needy, and I don't have any regrets. Whether I would have opted for anything else, and I knew even before becoming a doctor that I have chosen this profession consciously.
Is there any vision or something you want to achieve in the rest? Is there a target that I want to see this happening in my lifetime? Is there any such thing?
Yeah, yeah. Being in India, in Indian, I want to see that the health care is available, irrespective of the caste, creed, financial situations, and probably in the next few decades, nobody should die because of the want of the health care.
Right.
So that's what I want to be seen, and I want to see that India becoming sort of a leader in this, and it is becoming a sort of a leader in this, I must say.
Sir, and your Department of Nephrology at Dr. Chandrama Dayanand Sagar Institute offers low-cost nephrology treatment dialysis. Can you give us the viewers some information about this so that they can utilize the services?
Yeah. We have around 14 machines now in hemodialysis. As you said, we are giving a sort of low cost, affordable dialysis care. Many of the patients who are nearby, they are appreciating it, and they are thankful to the institution for that. And in fact, many of the patients after I have joined who are taking dialysis outside elsewhere, they have registered to continue the dialysis with us. They are very happy with that. And unfortunately, I'm not able to take all of them. And we are in a plan to extend our dialysis unit. And we also plan to extend our general nephrology care. So we are slowly on this process, thanks to the encouragement that has been given to by Dr. Ashok, our dean, and also the management. And then some other philanthropical organizations. So the Rotary Club is also helping us in this endeavor. And hopefully we are able to sort of establish ourselves as the leading institute in this place.
Nice. And for people who are not living in this part of the country, any centers you would wish to suggest where people can avail low-cost nephrology services, might be in Karnataka or outside Karnataka? So
yeah, there is really no reason to go anywhere else. Now, as I said, the central government of India and also the respective state governments are realizing the need for the increasing care centers for the patients with the kidney disease. So as I told you, they are establishing standalone dialysis centers, and they are encouraging the nephrologists to go into the second and third tier cities. They are establishing the facilities, and they should make use of this. And now they also should make use of our Prime Minister's healthcare scheme, and many state healthcare schemes are available, like Chief Minister's Fund. So really, they don't need to go from one place to another place. Yes, if the low-cost service is made available, they can avail it wherever they are.
Right. Thank you, sir. I think it was a pleasure talking to you. A lot of useful insights into the field of nephrology, into the field of medicine and life in general. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much again, Dr. Jaydev. I don't know how much I could answer your questions. I hope this will be sort of a starting journey. Hopefully, we'll be meeting you in the future.
Definitely,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.